From a legendary winning streak in the light heavyweight division to becoming the most recent heavyweight champ of the world, Jon "Bones" Jones is on a roll. It isn't going to reach a stop anytime soon, especially after the quick work he made against Cyril Gane. It's unlikely that Bones had his share of fun with the former champ who entered the octagon at the same time as him but left it much too early. In the 2 or so minutes that followed, Jones proved why he deserves to have a title shot, even one after a 3-year layoff and in a higher division. No one could deny the multi-talented martial artist his talents and hard work. On the other hand, the guillotine choke he executed seemed all too easy. I imagine that's because he made it look easy. Considering the natural weight at which Gane fights, higher than anything Jones was used to in a real fight, it was an impossible task. But Jones is used to turning around tables and making the wildest comebacks. In fact, so decisive was his victory, it made a heavyweight champ look like an amateur. Wait, what? Yeah, I have to admit it wasn't a pretty sight, and props to Bon Gaiman because he admitted this too. You could hear him say, "He's just too good." This raised an important question. Is there anyone better who could beat Bones? Earlier, I would have bet the French heavyweight would have set a new benchmark in difficulties for Jones. At the very least, his comeback would stumble a bit as he dragged his victory out of the huge reach of his opponent. I, like many others, predicted it would come down to a victory most probably, but only after 4 rounds of grueling battle. Well, the fight didn't even last 4 minutes, and there he was, the new heavyweight champion of the world, champ Jon Jones. Of course, it might have been his lucky day, and for Gane, it could very well be the opposite. That would add up to a lethal combo of fate and luck. Still, it's incredible how good Jones turned out to be. So once again, I ask that anyone who thinks they can take him on come forward. Here's your chance. Though only one man can call that shot. It's the promotion's matchmaker, Dana White, who can make it happen. The head of UFC is now considering his biggest project to date, finding a challenger for Jones. It would be hard to do that after the first-round submission he dealt out to the 248-pound Cyril Gane, single-handedly ragdolling him to the ground. Meanwhile, I don't think anyone in the current roster really matches the credentials of Bones, who's now 21-1 in the UFC. Well, except for Francis Ngannou, perhaps. Though technically, he's not on the UFC payroll right now. In fact, payroll was one of the biggest reasons he left the promotion in the first place. Now, it's up to Dana White and him alone to get the undefeated heavyweight champ back for a matchup against Jon Jones. I know it seems like a tough sell after the very public spat the two parties had with each other over fighter salaries, but I think the promising pay-per-view returns of such a fight will settle all doubts in Dana's mind. The fact that Francis seems interested already is a sign he's ready to consider any offers the UFC president might send his way. Jumping on the hype train following this stunning first-round submission by Jones, the Predator called himself the Heavyweight King. That's a weird way to congratulate someone on their victory, don't you think? Francis had sass too, calling Bones Johnny Boy and signing it off with the self-appointed title of Heavyweight King. It's not far from the truth though, as the Predator remains technically undefeated ever since he left the promotion in January. Though his status isn't as undisputed anymore, Jones has returned fire too, going all out and calling the Predator out as a coward who's just a prey. The newly crowned heavyweight champ didn't seem too interested in the prospect though, because his eyes were on Stipe Miocic. Jones even advised the silencer to ditch his second job. If you decide to fight the best, you only get one shot at it. Perhaps luckily for Stipe, Bones handed in the chance himself after submitting Bon Gaiman. What's more, the champ wants the former champ to focus on his preparation and stop firefighting around town. There's a raging fire right here in the heavyweight division, and it's called Jon Jones. Miocic may not be in his prime anymore, but the 40-year-old veteran has incredible guts and experience pushing him onto the starting line. All this has pushed Stipe as Dana White's favorite to head into the 2023 version of Jon Jones. Both fighters haven't locked gloves before, though even before Gane was signed on against him, Jones was eyeing Stipe as his favorite contender. Better late than never though, right? And it seemed like this would be the only contestant worth his salt who can stand to go into the octagon with this new and improved Jones. Wow, that's something I never thought I'd hear. It promises to get even crazier as Dana books Stipe for the matchup. He's confirmed his excitement for the match though, and backed it up with a verbal commitment during a press conference. He said, "I don't know when, but he's definitely fighting Stipe." On the other hand, former champ Stone Cold said he would see him in July and confirmed the unofficial rumors. What a pleasant surprise that is. Mutual respect between the champs and a desire to beat each other down too. Still, even the best laid plans can face hurdles, and it's a long way to summer. Maybe a plan B would be nice. It's hard to imagine many even holding their own against Jones, much less finishing him. Sergey Pavlovich has pulled off the improbable before. Even if the 35-year-old heavyweight would be a stretch even for him, Sergey's not top of the list when it comes to the challengers list. But those who know that he isn't publicity hungry. In fact, he's focused on his goal, and that's got him a string of successes while keeping the crowds and hype train at bay. This will help the Russian striker give his all to a potential matchup against Jon Jones. The 6 feet 3 inch fighter has an 84-inch reach that will be necessary for holding back a confident Bones, who's achieved mythical proportions now. The reach isn't just there for bragging rights though, he knows how to put it to use too. His streak of first-round KOs will attest to that. Plus, as the official backup to the Gane Jones fight, he does deserve first dibs on the new champion. At the same time, he could do one more stint in the backup role, this time for Stipe Miocic. Who knows, the 30-year-old might just get his shot at greatness. After a 5-1 record in the UFC, he's one high-flying contender and hungry as anything.
Ну, хочу все равно сказать публике спасибо, Англии. На самом деле, нокаут ты его никогда не планируешь.
He even reminds me of Jones at that age. Speaking of which, Jamal Hill is also following in Bones' footsteps. As the newest champion at light heavyweight, he took over from longtime champ Jon Jones. Well, he didn't beat him for the belt because Jones was on a hiatus. Instead, it was Glover Teixeira who had to take the punishment. I'm sure that must have been less climactic than a Jones-Hill fight. Never mind though, since he could have his chance next. The ambitious and talented fighter is every bit as dynamic as Jones was. His grappling, striking, and even height are a match, with both being 6 feet 4 inches. Still, there are enough differences to raise the excitement value and make it a battle of styles instead of a one-sided matchup.
Movement, athleticism, and Joe for Rashad. The flow, the takedown. He gets it.
There's Jones's 5-inch reach advantage over Hill and the obvious difference in their current weight class. Even then, it's a prospect of a lifetime for the light heavyweight champ, and that's all for the fights Dana should be booking for Jon Jones.